I feel like so many of these videos start out this way where it's just impossible to know what to say, and so you just kind of start out trying to gather thoughts and be prepared for what is about to be said, which in my situation is my husband moved out and we are preparing for divorce. My sister came over today and for a bit, and she said, "You look like you haven't slept very well." And she totally called it. I apologize. I'm not looking the best lately. Things have been really rough. And I'm not gonna lie, I did spend a good majority of my night last night crying. My husband has left. He's moved out. This is not, and our situation is not a mutual decision. It's something that he is choosing to do, and something that he thinks is the best for him and in his life. I know if you guys have been following me for a while, I've kind of told you that there is some stuff going on, and in this video I'm not going to be telling you too much about the finer details because a lot of it is his story. It really is his story to tell. It's his journey. It's his, a lot of it is his decisions. I will tell you guys though a little bit about my end of the street, my side of what's going on with me. And for me, I struggle with anxiety, and I've been noticing a few weeks ago, my husband asked me to see if I could find some commonalities with my anxiety, just to kind of work to resolve some things. And I think for me, I struggle mostly with social anxiety. Like, I get the most anxious and the most scared before a social event, and mostly wanted to make sure that I am representing myself well, my children are representing themselves well. Like, I want everyone at the social event to have fun and have a good time. And so I have a lot of anxiety gearing up for a social event because I love people and I want everyone to be happy. And so a lot of time before a social event, I will be super anxious leading up to that event because I want everything to go smoothly, and so and that has played a factor in my marriage. It wasn't something that I understood was bothering my husband so much to the degree that it was, and because I feel like anxiety is a very prevalent thing. I live in a culture where a lot of women have anxiety. I live in Utah, and I think it's like one of the highest states for depression and anxiety medication, and they're doing some studies that say that it is related to elevation, and so there is like something in the air here, something in the water. But a lot of people suffer with anxiety, and I thought it was more just something that everybody dealt with, and I did not understand how much my husband was struggling with my particular anxiety. And because I didn't understand what he was feeling, and because I didn't understand what he was trying to communicate to me, he has made some choices that were not the best for our marriage. He's done some things that really haven't been healthy for our relationship. I found out about them a year ago, and I mean, I don't know how to say this without saying too much. I think if I could tell you the whole story, there would be clarity and understanding about why my husband is making the choices that he is, as far as pursuing divorce. I would say a lot of childhood trauma is playing into effect, and also along with some personal choices that he's made. For when he is trying to cope with stress and understanding things. I don't know that necessarily represents him in the best way without telling you exactly what's going on. But just know for him, he has a story. It's his story. One day in a few years, I might be able to tell you more about the story. It's a very interesting and fascinating story. And I can see why he's making the choices that he is. Like, to some people, it would seem like the logical thing to do would be to move forward and progress with divorce. However, for me personally, I am a very religious woman. And for me, part of my feelings of religion is I just hold dearly to family. Like, I love family. I hold dearly to family. Family means the world to me. And so even though my husband is struggling with some things, I am of the mindset of we can fight, we can work, we can make this, we can build, everything isn't broken. Like, we can work through problems, you know? And I just have this very deep sense of loyalty and just this desire to fix things and for people to be happy, and I feel like, you know, situations can be fixed. Like, I feel like, you know, you can go through therapy and you can learn how to communicate better with each other so that you can build a relationship that is stronger and even more beautiful because of trial. And so that's just my mindset on marriage. I just really, really believe in families. Like, the heart of my core, like, I love family. I love, I mean, for me, and I think anybody that gets married, they really do, you know, the words hold true: for richer, for poorer, in sickness and health, and death do you part. Like, for me, I am just a very loyal person. I just feel a lot of loyalty in marriage and in family. And I also understand that my husband is free to make his own choices. So even though my stance is I am 100% not okay with the decisions that are made, I also understand that he is his own person and has his own journey. And so I think that I feel frustrated right now because, let's be honest, I have a 2 and a 3-year-old, and we are going through 2020. Besides stuff that's going on in my marriage, 2020 is the weirdest year. Like, I think the history of the world in such a long time. And so I just feel like I've been living in the twilight zone, honestly. Like, I feel like I just wake up and it's like, is this my life? Is this real? Is this really happening? So it's just been a really, really bizarre year for me. Okay, so what else do I want to say? I'm going through a lot of trauma right now. A lot of crying, a lot of tears, a lot of just trying to understand what is going on. I feel like I don't understand what is happening and why it's happening. Like, I really like to look at all of the details and really hash things out, and so it's hard for me because my nature is to understand and fix and solve and work through it. And so it's a very weird thing for me to just know that there is no solution, there is no fix for this. And a lot of, I think right now the hardest thing that I'm feeling is abandonment. I feel abandoned, you know, like, just the idea that one day somebody can live with you and then over the weekend my husband packed everything out of the house, and I took the boys on a little trip because I didn't want, the kids to be around daddy leaving scenario, but just coming back and realizing that, he left. And it feels like he left me, he left us, he left the family. And I think it's going to be a really hard transition to come to grips with what that means for me and what it looks like moving forward. This is something incredibly new to me. It's not a feeling that I've had before. My parents did have a marriage that stayed together, so I'm not accustomed to having somebody that I'm very close to leave. So it's a new experience for me. It's a new process in my journey. And I understand at the same time, though, that this is his journey and that he has every right to live his life however he wants to live it. I am frustrated at the timing. It's like, really? Like, could you not wait a few years until at least the boys were in school and like I could figure out how to get a job so I'm not paying an arm and a leg for daycare, and I don't know what my finances are going to look like. I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't know what the world of being a single mom will be like. I know, looking at our finances right now, as far as our budgeting channel, this budgeting journey that you've been following me on, I know that we're in an okay position for the short term. I don't know what our long term, I really don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how I'm going to earn money. I have a teaching degree, and I taught for 6 years before I had started having children. But to pay for my 2 little boys to go to daycare, like all day daycare, because they're not old enough for, for school. So to pay for that, like, I was looking at it, and I'd only be bringing home like $400 a month, and I'd be gone. We wouldn't have that time together. So it seems more logical for me to try to take on a job when I put them to sleep, whether it be doing some sort of teaching kids English in China, or just some sort of a secretarial job that I can do from home, or even YouTube. I mean, if I can get 1,000 subscribers, then I can start getting a little bit of money from YouTube and that sort of thing. But I really don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what my future looks like, and I don't know what that will be moving forward. And that's a very scary, vulnerable place to be in. But at the same time, I also know that with me, I am a fighter. I've done hard things. I can do hard things. And I know I'll figure something out. I know everything will turn out the way that God wants my life to be. I know that one day I will understand why the things that we go through. And I know that because of who I am and because of the things that I've built in my life already, I know that obviously, like, I'll make something work. Something will work. It's just a very scary time for me in my life right now, not knowing exactly what that is. And I have heartbreak right now that I'm dealing with on so many levels, between, besides the heartbreak of losing somebody that I thought I was going to be with forever. My heart is hurting for my children. My heart is hurting for my husband. I have so much heartache on so many levels. My heart is hurting because I love my husband's family. I love them dearly, and I know that that's a transition that will happen where I won't see them as much as I did. I mean, we still share children, so I'll still see them here and there, but just knowing that there's just this transition that happens when people get divorced, and it breaks my heart. I am curious, though. I feel like in all of this, in this year, I feel like so many marriages, the more I've kind of talked a little bit to friends and family, like, I don't talk to a lot of people about this. Not very many people in my real life know what's going on. In fact, like, nobody from my real life really even knows about this YouTube channel, and very, very, very few people from my personal life even know that my husband and I are going through marital issues and that this is happening. Like, it's not something that I've just publicly announced. I mean, part of it's because, like, the pandemic, who am I going to see and talk to, right? And the other part is just because it's private for me and my family. I don't even know where I was going with this. Anyway, very few people know. It's something that I'm just learning to cope with. It's been a very weird experience. Again, nobody gets married thinking that they're going to be divorced. So it's just been very hard for me to come to grips. I definitely feel like in the grieving cycle, I'm still in the denial phase, like still just not believing that this is happening to me, not believing, it's just a very, like, I just feel in shock. I feel in shock that somebody that I trusted with all of my heart, no holding back, is no longer going to be a part of my life, and it's hard. It hurts. It hurts so badly. It hurts so much. Oh, I remember where I was going. I feel like marriages. I feel like so many marriages get to this point where people have to decide, are we going to make this work, or are we going to divorce? And I know in some situations, like, divorce might be the right thing, and I know in some situations marriages might be the right thing. I'm curious to know, has your marriage ever gotten to a point, or a relationship, or any, like, gotten to a point where you have to decide, is this a relationship that I'm going to stay in still, or would it be better if we go our separate ways? And I'm curious to know on both sides. Are you happy if you stayed in a relationship after it got to that pivotal point, or are you happy that you got divorced? Like, what, for you, are you satisfied with the decisions that were made, or do they still break your heart? Were you able to move forward, or is it something that still is just hard to cope with and deal with? I'm curious to know. I'm curious for your stories of hope and your stories of truth. I guess, if they're not hopeful, I'm curious to know the reality. I feel like people don't talk about, at least I feel like in the things that I've researched, I don't know, I feel like there's something to the term 7-year itch, and there's something to, like, these terms of, I don't know, I'm feeling more and more like marriages have this choice. You come to a point in a relationship where you say, do I want to fight together with this person, or do I feel like it's better for me to do it alone? And in my story, I still desperately wanted to hold on to my marriage and fight and make it work, but at the same time respecting my husband's decision that he does not want to do that. And I know that some people just end up making that decision, and for them that might be the right thing too. I don't really know how to close this. I'm not, a lot of my videos, I do behind a budget, so I don't know, I kind of always sign off the same way, but yeah, my thoughts and prayers are with all of you as always. I would really appreciate it if you are watching this channel and you have not subscribed. I would really appreciate it if you did subscribe, because eventually this channel could become a source of income for me, which would be a huge blessing, because I really don't know what my financial future is going to look like. So if I could actually, make a little bit of money out of something that I do as a hobby and enjoy, that would be a blessing. Again, if you could like the video so that more people can see it and have an opportunity to subscribe, that would be a huge help. I was going to say, if you have any questions, let me know, but I have some things that I'm keeping private, and one day I might be able to tell you more of the story. It's a doozy of a story. So, you know, one day maybe we'll go there. We'll see. But for now, I am going to hold my family's privacy and protect them until the time is right. And I guess that is the place where I'm going to sign off and say I will talk with you later. I again hope and pray you're doing well, and take care. Bye.